Here's Stephen in the south of Paris, who wants to talk about overseas aid and the moon landing. A nice mixture. Go ahead, Stephen.
Good evening, George. Nice to speak to you. I'm a first-time caller.
Welcome, mate.
Well, the first thing is the landing on the moon. I don't believe it ever happened.
Tell me why. Tell me why.
If you look at the photos, you'll see on one of them, or on the photos, there's a cross. In all the photos, they've got a series of crosses. On some of the photos, there are rocks on top of the crosses, which is impossible. And also, there's a foot on one of the crosses, which is also impossible. And there's also, and forgive me if I've got this wrong, George, I think it's called Van Ryan's radiation belt. Is that correct?
Oh, I don't know, mate. You're the expert. You've almost persuaded me, I must say.
There's a thing called, I think it's called Van Ryan's radiation belt, and with the suits that they had at the time, it would have killed them if they ever went. And that's why they've never been back, because of the radiation belt.
Now, how come you're the only man in the world to have cottoned on to all of this, Stephen?
I haven't. It's a well-known fact, and those photographs have been published on numerous websites.
Oh, well, that's done it. They've been on numerous websites. That's it. That's the clincher for me. Now, Mary, in Newington in Edinburgh, is both a woman and a first-time caller, but moreover, she thinks we never went to the moon, so on all three counts, she's next. Go ahead, Mary. Go ahead.
Well, before I start, I don't think you're so much Top Cat, you're more Pussycat, George.
Wow.
When I first saw you on television, couldn't believe it.
I'm a tiger, really, Mary.
Well, I saw a film called Capricorn 1.
Oh, well, that did it for you, did it?
No, but it's something you put into the mix, you know.
Okay.
I remember, well, I'm not old enough to remember, but I do read a lot. And after the Second World War, a lot of these scientists came out of Germany. They either went to America, Britain, or Russia.
Oh, not many of them went to Russia, dear.
Well, you don't know that, George.
No, they'd have been hanged if they'd gone to Russia.
No, if they were valuable and they were scientists, they were wanted. And at the time, in the 50s, the McCarthy witch hunts were going on, and communism in America was taboo. There was a frenzy. And I think America was afraid that Russia would get up there first. And it could be, George, Capricorn 1. Could be simulation, just fear that the Russians would get there, so who knows.
But Jodrell Bank tracked them all the way to the moon.
Yeah, who told you that, George?
Jodrell Bank.
Well, there you go, George. If you believe that, you'll believe anything.
And on the NASA website, right this day, you can actually see the vehicles.
Not a website, George. You're against that.
On the NASA website, this day, you can see the vehicles and the equipment that they left behind.
Yeah, what about the rocks, George, with the numbers on them?
That's done it, Mary.
Pussycat.
That's done it, my dear. You've absolutely persuaded. There were rocks with numbers on them. How could they possibly have overlooked it all these years? Let's hear from Ian in Brighton, who says the moon landings weren't real. Go ahead, Ian.
Oh, hello, George. Love the show.
Thanks, mate.
Yeah, I can't believe you still believe it. Perhaps it's your age and you were brainwashed when you watched it on telly.
Could be that. Could be that, mate,
well, there's a couple of points. The first thing, that very big rocket, the Saturn V, I believe that was used to put nuclear weapons in orbit, not to go to the moon. The Americans needed something like that to counteract the Soviet threat, and it would have been the ultimate sort of standoff weapon, because they still believed in first strike capabilities when Kennedy gave his speech in '61 that they were going to the moon, but they couldn't even put a man in space when he gave that speech, so it was just propaganda for the people. If you look at the pictures of the moon landings, you can see there's a lot of sand there, really, and there's never been any liquid water on the moon, so where did all the sand come from? That's a good question. Second thing, about the lunar module, it didn't have an airlock. They forgot to put one on, you see, so when you open the hatch and Neil Armstrong gets on the ladder, it's minus 110 degrees inside, and all the controls would have frozen up. Radiation in space is the reason they can't go to the moon. There's too much radiation beyond the Earth's magnetic field, so they all have to stay 300 miles from the surface. They don't go more than 1,000 miles from the surface ever, apart from when Nixon was president. And Nixon used the moon landings to create a feel-good factor. He needed to be re-elected.
But by your argument, these were fake landings.
The moon landings were fake, yeah. Yeah.
None of these projects went to the moon then?
No, they can't. Men can't go more than 1,000 miles from the surface of the Earth.
Are you a scientist, Ian?
I've researched it for a very long time. Yeah, I've made a film about it, and no one wants to watch it because it's too good.
No one wants to watch it because it's too good, I think sums up Ian in Brighton's contribution.